Today I'm going to be showing you how to make really good thumbnails on YouTube. Photoshop. You suck at it. The techniques I'm going to be showing you today can be easily implemented on any photo editing service, so feel free to watch. Don't worry if you're using Paint or your mom's, I don't know, whatever. As long as you understand the fundamentals, you should be good. So first thing you want to do is create new. And your focus has to be over here to the width and height. Make sure you set your thing to pixels. You want your width to be 1080 by 1920. This is important. You got to get the aspect ratio correct. And of course, if you want to print that, make the resolution 300. Everything else stays the same. And then press create. It's going to be a little tricky when you first start out, but you'll get used to it. Don't worry if your layout looks a little different from mine. All you have to do is go to Window, Layers, History, and Tools. There we go. So now we have our presets up here. It should be a lot easier when we're making our thumbnails. So what I like to do is implement a face into the thumbnail, but you don't have to. You can go ahead and do whatever style you like. For me, I'm going to choose some kind of YouTuber face just because that's where you have to go to Google and search things up. Now, when you're looking for a face, it's really important to look for something high def instead of something blurry. Generally, the bigger the picture, the better. Once you found a photo, just save it to your computer and drag it over to Photoshop. Okay, so I decided to go with a little more riskier photo. It might be a little censored if I put it up here. Yeah, I'm definitely going to censor that. But I'm just here to show you that it doesn't have to be IRL photos. You could just choose an anime person to make it look good. I like making the person pretty big because you have to keep in mind you're going to be viewing these thumbnails really tiny on mobile phones. So yeah, that's pretty good. I can totally understand that. Now let's say you chose a photo that has a background and you don't want to use the background. Well, let me tell you, that's a little trickier. You want to press P, that gives you the pen tool. Pen tool is over here on your left. Most people will use the lasso tool. The lasso tool sucks. Don't use that. All you have to do is click on where you want the outline to start. You're gonna get real close there. Next thing is you make another point and it makes a straight line. But hey, look, there's a little curve here that we missed. That's okay. All you have to do is click and drag. It makes it look all curvy and stuff. And basically what you do is outline the character. Just keep in mind that you want it to be more on the inside rather than the outside, just so you don't get overlapping outlines of the background. I don't really want to use Felix here, so I'm just gonna delete that. Once you are finished with the outline though, you should have this little circle on the pen tool. All you have to do is click it. Next thing you want to do is right click, press make a selection, and then press OK. That should grab whatever you wanted to outline, and then the next thing you want to do is press this little square button thing that you can't see, but it says add a mask. You mask it and bam, there you go. You can grab it with Control T and drag it around. Look at that. Wow. This is just the basics of Photoshop. You can literally learn this online with online tutorials. There's a ton of videos out there. So the next thing we want to do is find a background. It's extremely important to find a background that's not oversaturating from your main focus, which in this case is the person, but still interesting. All right, does this yellow look good? It looks all right. It's pretty eye-catching. I think we might stick with this one. It's pretty simple, not overbearing. I like it. Next thing a lot of people like to do is add text to their thumbnails. A maximum of 4 words to a thumbnail is probably the best. Anything higher is just not going to be seen. Just always keep in mind that you're going to be seeing these on tiny phone screens, so the thumbnails are going to be little itty-bitty pieces of what. Just press T, it brings you the text selector, click, and then you can type whatever you want. You can drag them around, you can click on this to make it bigger and smaller. The magic of Photoshop. If you want to duplicate it, just press Control J, it'll duplicate it, and now you have 2 of them. Play around with it, you'll find your style the way that you like. That made no sense, but just go with it. You'll find your groove, and you'll see what works for you. Another thing I didn't really explain that well is the layering. As you can see, we got layers here on the right. We've got the background down here underneath the person, which makes it in the back. If it was in front, it'd be on top. And while you're at it, if you go to history here, you can go to any step that you wanted and it'll fix things. If you don't want to do history, you can just do Control Z. That'll go backwards. Are you keeping up with me? I know I'm going a little too fast for this. Up next, right before we're adding all of the details and the shadows and all of the outlines, I like to add in some minor effects. Some examples are hearts, anime background lines, etc. There we go. It's looking pretty cute. I like it. I like it. So I mentioned effects. There should be a button in Photoshop at least that says effects down in the right hand corner. It literally says effects, like right here. Basically click on your character, press effects, go down over to drop shadow, and bam, there is now a black outline behind your character. There's a lot of settings here that you can play with, like distance, for example. It'll clear this to a lot more distancey thing. You've got spread, which dictates how thick the line is, and then of course size, how big it is. I don't like mine being too strong, so I'm just gonna keep it at a little bit, something like that. It's gonna be different every time you do a thumbnail, so just play around with it, see what you like, what you don't like, and you can do the same thing for the other effects. Like the hearts example, put a drop shadow for there, maybe make it a little lighter. It's looking pretty good, pretty good. Gotta zoom out just to check that we can understand what's going on. We can. There's also another effect called the outer glow. Outer glow pretty much adds a glow. And just like the drop shadow, you can play with the size and play with the spread. Just to indicate that this is a tutorial, I'm going to be adding the Photoshop logo in the bottom left. Alright, so we've come across an issue. I decided to put the anime lines because it seemed a little bland to me, but they're facing towards the center and our character is over onto the right. I could technically move her to the center to make it even, but I don't want that. So basically, I'm going to take the lines, Control T, and move it so that it surrounds her. There we go. But now you're probably wondering, well, what's all this empty spot over on here on the left? Don't worry, I'm telling you, I'm about to get there. Now, if you're lazy like me, I would just cover her up with something, but I'm not lazy today, so I want to actually do something about it. Press M, drag it to the anime lines. Make sure you get all of the one side. You don't need to get everything. Copy that by doing Control J, and then what you want to do is hold Shift when you're dragging this. If you don't hold Shift, it'll drag the entire thing to look like this, which actually doesn't look that bad. But if you hold Shift, it'll drag this over. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty neat. Now you just gotta erase the one part over here and bam. Something about this still seems a little bland to me, don't you think? It's definitely this empty area over here. If you've run out of inspiration, what I like to do is go over to YouTube, search up one of your favorite creators, go to their channel. Look at their videos and see what you can copy, basically. There we go. I did a little bit of playing around, got it to where I want it to be, and now we're good. You're wrong! We're not good. We're almost done though. Click over here to your background. You can choose to do hue saturation or go over to filter and do camera raw filter. You want to crack up that saturation to make it a little more brighter and a little more standout-ish. Do the same thing for your character, but not all the way because it just looks weird like that. You just voila, there we go. We got ourselves a finished thumbnail. The more you can make it tell a story, the better. Now, if you want to save it, all you gotta go is click File and Export, and then Export As. Make it into a JPEG or a PNG, doesn't really matter. Press Export All, and then put it to whatever you want. I usually like to name it something related to the video, so tutorial thumb. And there we go. That's how you make a really good thumbnail. I probably missed out on a lot of things. I was trying to make this as quick as possible, and I also try to make it as generic as possible. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If I missed anything, be sure to comment it down below. I love Photoshop. Photoshop is such a magical place. You can do pretty much whatever you want with it. Just have fun, and yeah, make sure you clickbait. Just a little. Anyways, I'll see you next time.
Join me again for a whole lot of fun. Sincerely yours, Grocerybag.